AAD Connect then, beyond the wizard. The cast, my name is Hugh Simpson-Wells, I'm CEO of Oxford Computer Group, and I'm joined today by Andreas Kelman, formerly MIM and Azure AD Connect Program Manager for Microsoft. I think he's going to end up answering quite a lot of the questions. Jimmy Anderson, MVP Enterprise Mobility, and James Cowling, CTO of Oxford Computer Group. And the agenda, the way we're going to run this is, I'm going to say a little about what AAD Connect is and what it does. This is really just a level setting exercise, so we're all on the same page, and sets things up for the second part of it, in which we're going to use questions that you've already sent in and questions that we assume you might add to get a conversation going about some of the interesting topics that we can discuss. We'll take as many live questions as we can. We might even overrun the 45 minutes we have available. There will be a recording and we will be sending out links and so on afterwards, so it shouldn't be necessary for you to be making lots of notes yourself. So let's ask a very fundamental question. What is Azure AD Connect? When we talk about AAD Connect, we often mean AAD Connect Sync, which is one component. Actually, AAD Connect is a brand that includes a number of components. So AAD Connect Sync, and I think that's mostly what we'll be talking about today. AAD Connect Health, which fairly obviously lets you know when things go wrong with AAD Connect, or maybe when things go right. We will not be focusing on this today, unless a specific question comes up. We won't be focusing on it. It actually requires a premium license, unlike the other components here. ADFS is now part of Active Directory Federation Services, is now part of Azure AD Connect, part of that brand, and that provides one of the authentication options that we'll touch on. And there's also a sort of provisioning connector, which seems to have various names, which handles some of the authentication and synchronization use cases, and I'll mention this again shortly. AD Connect is actually based on MIM, that is Microsoft Identity Manager, or what we now know as that, because it's had a lot of name changes over the years. But Azure AD Connect is quite different in some respects. Microsoft Identity Manager is about on-premises synchronization. So typically it's taking HR as a source of truth, and it's provisioning and deprovisioning accounts in various, usually on-premise systems, based on business rules. It also synchronizes the various attributes, keeps things in synchronization as it goes along. It's extremely flexible. It can handle cloud services too, but it's very much an on-premises tool. It can also handle other object types like groups, but it's very much about users. This will turn out to be relevant. Synchronization happens in the cloud. This is an available configuration right now. I apologize for a typo on the screen. If you have Office 365, you also have Azure AD, and synchronization, as I say, can happen here. For example, you could take WorkDay as a source of truth for user objects. You could provision and deprovision accounts just as you can with MIM, but to cloud apps. And there is a degree of attribute synchronization that goes on too. Very simple configuration, but much less flexible, does not extend to on-premises, but of course it's something that's developing quickly. Now, most of the organizations that we talk to, and presumably all of you, are in a hybrid situation where you've got both on-premises and in cloud services of various kind, and of course the ones we're really interested in, Azure Active Directory and Active Directory. We can assume that you're all in this situation, otherwise you wouldn't be here today. So we're interested in these two directories and the further synchronization of these, whether or not you're synchronizing overtly in the cloud, whether or not you have MIM on premises or something else that's doing synchronization there. The interest here is in synchronizing Active Directory with Azure Active Directory, and that's what Azure Active Directory Connect is primarily about. So let's focus now on that synchronization piece, Azure Active Directory Connect Sync. We're synchronizing users, groups, and devices, and the requirement, two basic requirements of this tool. One is that it does these synchronization of different things reliably, and the robustness and the flexibility that of MIM, which has been around for over a decade in different names, has made it a very good choice of the fundamental sync engine. But it also has to be easy to install, configure, and operate, and MIM did not fit this bill. And so Azure AD Connect Sync has been developed significantly from MIM, including a wizard installation and different UIs for handling it. Typically, that sits on an existing server, perhaps a domain controller, and the only significant requirement is SQL Express as well. So very straightforward. And out of the box, you can do a very simple Express installation. This can be done in minutes, really. And this is one Azure AD forest to one one Active Directory forest to one Azure AD tenant. And the wizard asks for minimal information, basically credentials. And the result is two connectors, which you can see here in the management interface. You can see that there's an Azure AD and an ADDS connector. There's room for more, and we'll talk about that.